Solve for the missing length of a right triangle. Whenever you are asked to solve for a leg or a hypotenuse or the missing length of a right triangle in context where there's a picture, we can solve it long ways, of course. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, or we can use the shortcuts that we have found while we've been solving these equations. To solve for a missing leg, of course, you've got hypotenuse squared minus leg squared. My hypotenuse is across from the right angle, 10 squared minus the leg squared, which gave us 6. The one thing I would do is, does 6 make sense? Yes, it does, because 10, the hypotenuse, is the longest. Now here we're solving for a missing hypotenuse. Leg squared plus leg squared, which is 8 squared plus 4 squared, and that gives us 8.9. So I'm going to round that to 9. Is the hypotenuse the longest length? Yes, it is. So we know we've done that correctly. Now, when we're solving for a missing length of a right triangle in a real world problem, other words for legs might be how tall something is or the height of something. North and south are also words that may signal legs of a right triangle. East and west, or from the base, or the shadow, or the runway. All of those may be legs of a right triangle. Also, we have words that signal a hypotenuse. Diagonal, a kite string, a ladder, or a guide wire, because they're always at a slant. So a diagonal of a rectangle, for example, would be solving for the hypotenuse. Okay? We're going to solve for missing side A. We've got a right angle here. It points across to the hypotenuse. So what we have in this case is a hypotenuse and a leg. So we're going to take the square root of the hypotenuse squared, and we're going to subtract the leg squared. Oops, did that wrong. The leg is 24. So we're going to put 24 squared. That gives us 7. Now I ask, does that make sense? Yes, it does, because the hypotenuse is the longest side. So let's go to the next one. This young person, or you maybe, are going ziplining on Mill Mountain. You start your descent from a platform that is 28 yards high. You land on the ground 26 yards from the base of the platform. How long was the zip line you traveled down? So let's think about this. I'm going to draw a right triangle, which is really pretty easy. Well, mine doesn't look very good, but let's pretend. You draw a capital L and then connect it. So this out here is your hypotenuse. He is making a descent from 28 yards high. High is a signal word for a leg. Then it says he lands on the ground 96 yards from the base. Another signal word for a leg. So we are definitely looking for the hypotenuse, how far he traveled. So we're going to start with the square root, and we're going to do leg squared plus leg squared. And that gives us 100, which makes sense because the hypotenuse needs to be the longest. But what if I made a mistake and I accidentally subtracted these two numbers? So let me do 96 squared minus 28 squared. Let's just see what happens. Then I get 91. Would that make sense? Or it would round to 92. But would 92 make sense for a hypotenuse? Absolutely not, because it's smaller than the 96. So that's how you would know that you need to change it to a plus, and you would get the 100. Fantastic. Time to stop.